Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Just That Misplay, and I just want to go over the deck tech when I drafted part 1. So, starting off my deck, I went Mardu. It's heavy in white and black, and it splashes red. One of the first cards I picked was actually Rotting Rats. I really like this card. I like that it has graveyard synergy. Unearth is pretty powerful, especially in this format. It's a surprising card, and it does a lot of work. Blind Obedience is another 2-drop, which I honestly feel is an all-star. It really helps slow down the game enough for you to buy time to make those bigger plays. It also has Extort, which it doesn't always help, but it's always like that one additional thing that can really push you up and get you a little bit more life. It's a mana sink. 3 all-stars in the deck. They're all 3-drops. Athreos, God of Passage, Loris, the Dream Den, and Timna, the Weaver. They're solid 3-drops. They keep the tempo of this deck going, so if my creatures die or hit the graveyard or whatever, those 3 cards in the deck will help bring those cards back and help me continue to cast spells. They recycle themselves and replace themselves. They're really good. Going into the 4-drops, Heliod is a real all-star. Giving all your creatures vigilance is powerful, and then it has a mana sink where you can pay 4 and get a 2/1 cleric. The other turn 4-drop is Alara's Claymore. This is my custom card. I mentioned it before in part 1 of the draft, and I actually misread it. Go figure. Alara's Claymore is a 4-drop artifact that gives your creature +1/+1 for each of its colors, has double strike and haste. It also has Cascade, equip cost of 2, and when it enters the battlefield, you can equip it to a creature that entered the battlefield this turn. This is a really neat card. It's one of my own custom cards I made for this cube specifically. This was the first time I got to draft with it in this deck, and I'm really looking forward to see how it performs. Moving into red, we got Yadaro. I love the fact that you can cycle it for 2 and then just keep gambling, essentially, to try to get to cast it for free. All right, so you pay 2 and shuffle this card in your deck, and then you get to draw a card. And if you cycle this 4 times, the 4th time you get to cast it for free. So it's like a cantrip with a late game benefit. The decks only have around 40 cards, so casting this 4 times doesn't seem that crazy. Like, it's possible. It's totally possible. I have Graveyard Shenanigans, which I do. I can probably cast it from the graveyard if it ever hits the graveyard. Moving on to the 5-drops. Cathkar's Crusade is insane for this deck. It's just going to keep making my weak creatures get bigger and bigger and then just swing all out. It's an all-star. Bituminous Blast, this is a pet card of mine. Ever since I played it in Standard back with Shards of Alara, I instantly fell in love with everything that this card does. And Cascade is definitely a pet ability of mine, and it's really good. I'm hoping we get to play with it and you guys can really see the power behind this card. And that's it. Other than that, we got basic lands. We have 5 swamps, 1 mountain, 5 plains, Sacred Foundry, and some of these. You guys probably don't care about the lands though, so let's get started.
Alright guys, I'm just going to take a minute to go over how I constructed my Dimir deck. The main strategy behind my deck is to mill myself and my opponent, and then use the cards in my graveyard to do stuff. Some of the cards I'm excited to play are Brainstorm. I get to draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from my hand on top of the library in any order I want. So I can just choose what cards I want to play with each turn for at least 2 turns. Then I have Nisset Metamorph, which is really cool. He's a little 1/1 shapeshifter for 1 and a blue. And whenever he attacks, the target opponent reveals their cards until they get a creature. And then my Metamorph becomes a copy of that card and is able to attack instead of my little Metamorph, which is pretty cool because he can turn into anything. So he's really cool. Mind Apprentice Necromancer. 1 and a black, 1/1 zombie wizard. And I can pay a black and tap him. And I get to sacrifice him. And when I do, I can return a creature card from my graveyard to the battlefield. And then that creature also gains haste. I get to sacrifice it at the end. So I can pick anything, again, using my milled cards in my graveyard. Thief of Sanity and Ashiok. So both of these cards are taking my opponent's cards and letting me play them. So they're really cool. And then I can X out all the cards from my opponent's hand and graveyards if I -10 from Ashiok, which is really cool. Even though most of the strategy here is to get my cards in the graveyard so I can pull them from there and play with them. Those cards are going to be fun to play with. I also have my Liliana, the Last Hope. She's going to be really fun to play with also. And then my Liliana that flips, she is a creature with lifelink. And then whenever a non-token creature I have dies, then I get to create 2/2 black zombie, and then she flips. She flips into the Defiant Necromancer. And she also lets me use creatures from my graveyard. So she's going to be fun. And then I have a couple more expensive cards. My 4 drops is just Spark Double. Spark Double is really cool, obviously, in any blue deck, I think, because he can turn into any creature he wants. And they also get a +1/+1 counter. And he can be a legendary or a planeswalker, so I can easily make him any of my Lilianas. Or he could be fun to turn into my Narset. So I can have 2, and he would get an extra +1/+1 counter. Necrotic Ooze is always really cool. He has really cool artwork. All the creatures that are in my graveyard, I can use all of their abilities, or at least their activated ones, to, go against my opponent. So, and he's also a 4/3. And then Jace, the Living Guild Pack, is another one of my planeswalkers I picked. He is going to allow me to put more cards in my graveyard to manipulate those. He also allows me to bounce non-land permanents to their hands. So it gives me a little bit of time to get some of my creatures out on the field. My Price of Fame, he costs 4, but if you're using him to destroy a legendary creature, which probably will happen, he only costs 2. So he's good. He's cool. And then I have my Cool Color Giza. When she's on the field, to pay 1 black and tap her to sacrifice another creature that I have. And then when I do that, I can put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. So she kind of goes well with my Butcher Malakir that I'm going to use. So whenever I sacrifice a creature, the opponent also has to sacrifice your creature. So she'd be cool. Then another Planeswalker, again, Liliana, she allows me to make black zombie creature tokens, and again, it lets me put stuff into my graveyard. And then I can use the graveyard cards to put back on the battlefield, and then I can -7 to destroy all non-zombies. My last card that I'm kind of excited to play with, Garuda, Doom of Depths. He's a 6/6 Demon Kraken. Whenever he enters the battlefield, every player put the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. Put a creature card with an even converted mana cost among them onto the battlefield under your control. So again, letting me pick from my graveyard. Pretty simple deck. Not too much going on. Should do really well.
Hey guys, I know what you're probably thinking. Why does Just Add Misplay look so sleepy? And the answer is, we were up filming until about 4 a.m. that day. Please bear with us with this deck list. We have all the filming ready to go. We just have to edit, and there's a lot of editing to do. The footage should be released within the next couple of days, so we just wanted to give you guys our deck list for that gameplay footage. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. So, we got a few... What?
It's anything. Did it sound like you said something?
It did. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like my content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Also, if you could hit the thumbs up, it really goes a long way and it helps out a lot. You can find me on Twitch at Just Add Misplay. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you in the next video.